His Morning Crew with Rob, Allison, and Jim.
If you're still getting dressed this morning, pull out your wacky socks. Today is World Down Syndrome Day because chromosomes, they look like socks. And because people with Down syndrome have an extra 21st chromosome, today, March 21st, 321, is World Down Syndrome Day. And we're joined by Rachael Swolgaard. She's a mom with a special place in her heart for people with Down syndrome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Rachel, you learned something pretty shocking about orphans in particular that have Down syndrome.
Yeah, we had a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome with our first child, and he was born without Down syndrome. We were like, weird. And so we learned years later that kids with Down syndrome in other countries became social orphans and were put in orphanages and were dying at really young ages just because of neglect and lack of medical care and abuse. And so they were dying at about 6 years old, 5 to 6 years old. And here in the United States, of course, they live almost a normal life expectancy. So.
And this led you to adoption.
This
which
did.
Is so
Within
cool.
about a week, we were like, okay, so we'll adopt.
And you did.
So we did.
And 2 children with Down syndrome you adopted.
2 so far, yes.
Yeah. What has changed since they've been in your home for them?
Probably everything, and at the same time, nothing, because we now have this different perspective, and so we just totally different outlook on life. They bring joy. They have like this amazing empathy that no one else has, right? And at the same time, they're just like everybody else. And so it's like not even a thing.
With
like
a lot of love to share, too.
Yes.
But they've really thrived in your home. Like, talk about Riker, for instance.
Yeah, so Riker came home at 11 pounds, and he is now a almost typical sized 4-year-old running around and talking to all the people. So our doctors cried when they saw him for the first time because they thought he wouldn't even survive when he came home. And now, yeah, he's a chunker.
But the journey doesn't end there. You're now adopting 2 more 1-year-old girls from Ukraine, one that has Down syndrome. So where are you at in this journey?
So we go back, we've met them, and we go back in a week for court, which they'll become officially Swolgaards. And then we can pick them up 30 days after that.
Wow.
It's amazing. Rachel's along with us this morning on His Radio. Your story is fascinating. What do you want people to get from your story?
I mean, I just want people to really, for one thing, we call ourselves in the Down syndrome community the lucky few. And so I think adopting children over and over again with Down syndrome can kind of be a testament to that. We do think we honestly believe that, or we wouldn't do this, right? And so I just want people to see that our kids are worthy. They're worthy because God gave them life. And so they're not extra worthy. They're just worthy. And so I want people to love our kids and accept our kids. And unfortunately, that's not as super common as we would think it would be, even in the United States. So
I kind of lost count. So how many kids do you have and how many have you adopted?
We have 6. We will have 8 with the new 2. And I have to think for a minute, but 5 of them are adopted. Yeah, so we have 3 biological.
So how can we pray for you?
Yeah.
All the energy, right?
Yeah, right? That's
and good
amazing.
sleep. So far we have good sleepers. We're like 2 1-year-olds.
So the 8 include the 2 you're getting ready to go.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
Fascinating.
And I
Thank
see
you.
other people with big families, right? And I'm like, oh, a lot of kids. And I'm like counting, and I'm like, oh, I have more than that. Okay.
That's great. Rachel, thank you for
thank
what
you.
you do. You are amazing. Hey, I encourage you, go to our Facebook page or go to our website at hisradio.com. Share Rachel's story because I really think it needs to get out. And since this is World Down Syndrome Day, put on your crazy socks. Don't be like me and forget. Put on those crazy socks. Thanks, Rachel.